Hey folks, so welcome back. Last time you saw this, it was all pretty bare in this cupboard right here, but we have, as you saw from the tie rod video, if not I'll link that up above here. This tie rod is all back in there, so we're ready for steering. I've got the knuckle just sitting on the new control arm here, the lower control arm. I have loosely affixed the tuning fork support arm here, which will be all bolted down later. This is not fully torqued down, as I'm told that you need to have weight on the car to do that correctly. And then here's our Wray bar end link right here that we're going to connect into our new buddy. After all these hours, it is finally time to get the RS2s correctly loaded. Now, I think you can see here, hopefully, these arrows pointing from side to side, so these need to go laterally with the vehicle, which will make this particular threaded rod be on the interior of the car, so it's going to sit on the car like this. And I have lined that up already with this bracket here which slots into the knuckle down here. So if we can clear the top here, which it looks like we can, I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but we can clear the fender. Let me see if I can come up a little bit for you. So let's drop it in, see how we're looking here. So yeah, if I just push down a little bit on this control arm, I have good clearance here. So because I don't have extra help, I will probably need some help to jack up the knuckle here up through so I can secure the top of the strut into the body of the vehicle. But before I do that, I want to get the sway bar end link locked in here. Almost went in too easy. I may need some thread locker there, so I'm just gonna call this test fitting for the time being. So there it is in there. This will go up here. Like I said, 2 players probably better than 1 for this step. And then yeah, we'll be off to the races. All right, so I'm gonna work left-handed for you. See how that goes. So we can guide this up in here, being impatient. Alright, so you should be able to see here the thread's starting to emerge. Alright, so that's pretty flush. So we'll start to loosely thread the top bolts, and then we will move the strut here to better align with where we saw from these pink lines that we created at removal to be somewhat close to how it was set up previously. And again, this will be going through an alignment. Sorry, it will be going through an alignment to where we can obviously dial everything in, because I'm sure the geometry has changed here. Let's just snug those for now, but we'll go to 24 foot-pounds once I start torquing everything down. I don't know if, is that going to sit on there anymore? Oh, it is, but this is the compression adjuster. So yeah, we'll deal with that later. Minus some fine-tuning on the bolts. By fine-tuning, I mean torque. And then, you know, getting the brakes back in there, we'll be starting to put this all back together. So while you watch the rear assembly go back together here, I just wanted to throw a shout out to two people who heavily contributed to the success of this project in one way or another. One, getting me the right equipment, and that was John over at Flat 6 Motorsports. Definitely check them out on the web if you have a late model Porsche. John is very close to all the mods and cool stuff you can do with that, and you should certainly check him out at on his YouTube channel, Flat 6 Motorsports. Also a shout out to Brian Heiss, or Heisey, sorry, I don't know how to say that, or pronounce it I should say. He's the GM over at Olsen Motorsports and helped me out while I was running into some really dumb issues along the way of putting the struts together. So definitely thanks out and shout out to those two. As you can see here from the images, the four corners basically go together largely the same way. The extent to which you've broken apart your suspension will somewhat dictate how you put it back together. But if you do just manage to drop down the lower control arm, drop down the strut from the top and pull it out and replace it in, it's actually a very straightforward project. As being unfamiliar, I just replaced a lot of parts as you saw from part one, and I spent a lot of time doing things that second time around would not take me near as long. Hopefully this video gets you to a place where you can move a little bit faster and move with a little bit more confidence and in the knowledge that you're moving down the right path. So project over to some degree. There's still a little bit more tweaking to go, but here's the first drop of the car. Obviously a bit of a nervy moment given I didn't know the exact ride height I would need to have, and wanted the car to settle for sure, and left it overnight to do so, and came back in the morning and found everything looked okay. Certainly found the tires tucked into the wells way better than they've ever been before. Very happy with that. So the measurements I'll put up on the screen are the ones that I went with out of the box, so to speak, meaning the lucky guesses I went with, and I was happy with those. I do think some spacers would probably help fill out a little better, but that's still under advisement. I know a lot of people do run spacers on these cars very successfully, so likely that will happen. Specifically in the rear, I think it would help more. Thinking about 15 and 7, let me know below if you've done it and what kind of widths you've put in between your wheels and your hubs. And next up will be the alignment. I'll show you that, and then some general ride impressions and try and video the impacts. I can tell you that at the street level, the street 3 clicks rebound, 3 clicks compression, the car drives way more comfortably than it does at stock. And now I've got to try it out tightened up and kind of put more into a fierce mode, if you will, and that will be cataloged for you here in an upcoming video. So thanks very much for checking in. Be memorable, be well, and certainly thank you always for watching the show. Bye now.